We put special ornaments on these trees here at the National Fallen Firefighters Foundation.
This one has a picture of my dad, Michael Malinowski.
He was a firefighter who died in the line of duty in 2019.
This is America's tribute to fallen firefighters. Welcome, I'm Nora O'Donnell from the CBS Evening News. Each day we see the images of our nation's firefighters. They're on the front lines, heading towards danger. We see our firefighters in the middle of wildfires ravaging the West, spending day after day searching for victims of the devastating high-rise collapse in Florida. We were there, we saw it in person. And of course, responding to our homes to help the sick and dying during the pandemic. But who is there for them and their families? For 3 decades since its creation by Congress, that answer has been the National Fallen Firefighters Foundation. Now, the foundation's mission is to honor the nation's firefighters who died, serving their communities, and to provide comfort and support for their families. Now, the foundation helps the families for as long as they're needed. But the work doesn't stop there. There are foundation programs that assist firefighters and departments as they deal with the death of a close colleague. And the foundation works with the nation's fire service to reduce the number of firefighters injured and killed each year. On this program, we'll introduce you to some of the families of the fallen and the firefighter who is at the center of their lives. We'll show you their journey following such a profound loss. Helping me share these stories is Hillary Howard from WTOP Radio in Washington, and she joins us from the National Fallen Firefighters Memorial.
Nora, this monument is nestled in the Catoctin Mountains of Maryland. It's been here for 40 years, in Emmitsburg, just a few minutes south of the Civil War battlefields of Gettysburg, Pennsylvania. The men and women whose names surround this eternal flame were also no strangers to battle. They fought on our behalf against the ravages of fire, floods, hurricanes, tornadoes, earthquakes, and terrorism. Disasters both natural and man-made. But they were also there for our daily emergencies, the ones that don't make national headlines. A house fire, a collision on a highway, a loved one who's ill. Thousands of names are engraved on plaques that ring the National Fallen Firefighters Memorial. They are the nation's firefighters who didn't make it home from their last alarm. Many names of firefighters who died before this memorial was built are remembered on the brick walkways leading to the monument. Career, volunteer, industrial, wildland, military. The National Fallen Firefighters Foundation honors them all. Recently, the names of more than 200 firefighters were added to the memorial. The ceremony brought families to Emmitsburg from all over the country. Last year, due to the pandemic, there was no memorial service, so those fallen firefighters were honored this year. Take a look.
Today, we honor the firefighters that made the ultimate sacrifice. We are gathered in this most sacred place to add their names to this national memorial.
Johnny Dale Iverson, my dad.
Johnny would go out and help anybody that he possibly ran into that needed help. He would never be selfish.
To honor your loved ones here today and forever after today. To honor the memory of what they gave. And I'll always will remember all the strength you gave to me. Your love made me make it through. Oh, I owe so much to you. You were right there for me.
John Fournier.
was killed in an accident at the Hills Fire in Northern California, August 19th, 2020. We were high school sweethearts. And we honor him today with utmost respect. It was my everything.
Those are the voices of the Foundation's fire hero families. Each of them lost a firefighter. Each is on a journey dealing with their own grief in their own way. They are the priority of the National Fallen Firefighters Foundation. And they've made each other a priority. Families whose firefighters died even decades ago, returning to help new families.
Want to see Sanders? Yeah, I want to see Sanders now. This is my first time at the tree lighting and the winter retreat. It's really nice to be able to just be with the people and then to see all these ornaments on the tree. It really hits home. That's my son, Keith Rankin. He was my oldest child. Passed away in 2011 of a massive heart attack.
My son, Sander Cohen, died in December of 2017.
So Nancy Crawford sent me a card in 2018. National Fallen Firefighters have us as survivors write cards to people who are new to this rather awful club. And so she wrote a card to us. And I didn't meet Nancy until my grief group a year and a half ago. So every Wednesday I would be talking to Nancy Crawford, and I never realized that she had sent this card.
Well, Arlene and I became really good friends through this. We have this Zoom group that meets every Wednesday night, and we just bonded because we both lost our sons, and we've talked, and we on Zoom, but then we also talk other times, and that's important because we both understand what it's like to lose that child.
In regular everyday life, I have to put on a happy face because people don't really understand. You lose your son. Coming here, I can feel my feelings, I can talk about my feelings, and there's so much support. It's the most amazing place I've ever been in my life, even though I wish I never had to come here.
Nancy, I'm so grateful. Thank you for sending this card in 2018.
We were meant to meet.
We were meant to meet.
We were. My son had a tattoo on his arm that said, "Heroes live forever." And that's true. Those heroes live in our heart every day.
Oh, I love you so much.
You are watching America's Tribute to Fallen Firefighters. When Sue Nasatka's firefighter father, Alexander Johnson, died, she was 8 years old. It was 1958. There was no National Fallen Firefighters Foundation, so many of the foundation's services for fire hero families weren't available to Sue and her family. But Sue discovered and embraced the foundation as an adult, and the foundation embraced her. Sue's unique perspective underscores the importance of the National Fallen Firefighters Foundation's mission.
My father died in 1958. At the time he died, we did not realize it was a line of duty death. It wasn't until maybe 1999 that we found out that his death was considered line of duty when we read it in the newspaper. There were several firemen in Annapolis doing research on line of duty deaths, and they had listed our father's name. When my father died, we had no one. I mean, back when he died, he died. That was it. When I came here, I realized that I wasn't the only little girl who had lost a father. And I saw people that their husbands had just died, and they had children that were my age at the time. And it was an eye-opener. Like, wow, my mother went through that. She had 2 daughters to raise on her own, and I never realized what she went through until I came here. When I met the people from NFFF, I fell in love with them. My life changed. I realized that I wasn't the only person in this situation, and I have stuck with them since then. It has been a wonderful experience. They love everything they do. It's like they love everybody they come in contact with. It's just the foundation for a big family. If you called any of them, that they would be there to talk to you or find someone for you to talk to. The Memorial Weekend connects you with all your friends, and it kind of re-energizes you to get through till the next year. What makes me come back every year is the family and friends that you have met. You come here not knowing anybody, scared, what am I going to get into? And then you meet this big, wonderful family. They're all here to support you, love you, have a shoulder to cry on. Even the foundation and the returning fire hero families. I was sad that we had to go through what we did without the support, but I was happy that I found the support when I did. Believe in the foundation. You need their help, their love, and their understanding. I know it helped me.
One reason we call this America's tribute to fallen firefighters is because we're hearing from you. We've asked people to share their thoughts about firefighters and to honor the firefighters who have died serving their communities. So throughout this program, we will hear America pay tribute. But first, the families of firefighters honored at this year's memorial take us into their lives. They have searched family photos to find moments that best illustrate their firefighter, the person they've loved and lost.
I had a friend that was a firefighter, and it was a tough job. He was in an area that saw a lot of action, and but they do an amazing job.
I think they're heroes. If without firefighters, we'd be in a whole lot of trouble.
I feel like it's selfless work, and it would be heroic work. It's not meant for everyone to do.
Brave, strong, and they put their lives on the line for us.
They're risking their lives to keep people safe, folks safe, and property, as well as personal, people.
Bravery, simple as that. Going in when I'm running out.
People who help people when they're in need, just call it any time, any day, they just kind of sacrificing their lives to help people.
Well, I'm telling you, that's bravery, isn't that? Isn't that bravery defined? Where you know that it's a possibility that you might die and you still do it?
You can buy a brick on the Walk of Honor surrounding the National Fallen Firefighters Memorial. It can be inscribed with your name or a person or organization you'd like to honor, including your local fire department. Go to firehero.org/help to learn how. You're watching America's Tribute to Fallen Firefighters.
Perhaps there is no greater loss than what a young child feels after the death of a mom or dad. Imagine what it's like when that parent is a firefighter, someone larger than life, seemingly invincible, really a superhero. We all know it's impossible to fill that role, but the National Fallen Firefighters Foundation is there to help. Their goal is simple. It's to comfort and support the children while they learn and grow. Children are at the heart of the foundation's work. Two key programs are the Hal Bruno Camps for Children of Fallen Firefighters and the Foundation's scholarship funds. So here's more on both of those programs.
Welcome to camp! Welcome to camp! Welcome to camp!
The camp meets you at your level.
Hi, Kara.
And it helps the kids be what they want to be and feel how they want to feel.
This is going to be the next obstacle on American Ninja. Can you make it to the next one? All right, good job.
My oldest hadn't really expressed any emotion towards the loss of his stepdad until after camp.
Hey, little buddy, let me see you sizzle. Sizzle, 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 sizzle.
We were coming up on the 1 year mark when we came to camp the first time, and he finally opened up and felt things he hadn't allowed himself to express before.
Ground squirrel, shake your bushy tail.
Thank you to everyone who's allowed for my family and other families of fallen firefighters.
My dad very loves me and I miss him.
To give these opportunities to make it possible for these children to have the opportunity to go to these camps.
We're going to be using our feelings flashcards. Delighted or disgusted?
Camp's great. It's really fun. It's nice to come here, just get the relief off, and just get to have fun.
See you, bud. High five.
Tell me you had a nice time.
See you again at camp.
It's a fantastic weekend with some absolutely incredibly courageous and strong kids.
When you send one kid to camp, you can make a lifetime of difference.
It made me feel a lot of things. I felt thankful, I felt honored, I felt relieved that I was gonna be able to go through college without as much debt. I was thankful for the foundation that helped me through my whole life, starting when I was 7 years old. Now I'm almost 24, so almost 2 decades of my life has been constant help in numerous ways.
Because of the significant financial burden of losing my father, who was the primary breadwinner in my family, I would have had to go find immediate employment to help support my family. Having the scholarship enabled me to go to PA school and to be able to seize that opportunity. I was able to have my education completely funded, which is going to make a huge difference going out into practice now and not having the burden of as many loans now to pay off. So I have been able to help support my family. I lived at home during my college education. That way I could still save money and also help to support my family in that time while still attending school. And this scholarship has just lifted that burden and has made going to school possible, and has also made getting out of school without as much debt possible and being able to start my career off on a good foot.
When I think of the National Fallen Firefighters Foundation, I think of not only family, but I think of a community. I think of a safe place where I can just feel accepted and not judged and just seen for who I am. The foundation has helped me in emotional ways, mental ways, as well as financial, so I appreciate everything.
You should know the scholarships aren't just for the children of fallen firefighters. They're also available to spouses and life partners. The scholarships are particularly helpful when learning new skills to help offset the loss of family income that can happen when a firefighter dies. You're watching America's Tribute to Fallen Firefighters.
Gosh, anytime I see firefighters or fire trucks, I just, I'm so thankful for the work that they do.
Firefighters are help at the tip of your fingers. When you need help abruptly, you just call them and they're right there to help.
Oh, they're irreplaceable. They're heroes. They help
out the community. They protect us.
Keep our families safe.
They're getting there within minutes of when you call 911.
Rushing in and putting out fires and putting themselves in harm's way in order to help others. And, we couldn't do without them. It's an essential service.
The braveness that they show, and also the sacrifices that they make, unbeknownst to a lot of people.
The first word I think of when I think of firefighters is lifesavers, the people who save our children. Now that I have a 4-month-old son, people like that mean so much more to me than ever before because of the people who will save my boy if something were to ever happen to our home.
You can be an everyday hero to the families and co-workers of America's fallen firefighters. Start a fundraiser to support the National Fallen Firefighters Foundation. Go to firehero.org/help to learn how.
Hi, I'm Troy Markle, the chairman of the board of the National Fallen Firefighters Foundation. There are 5 words that make up the most important message we have for those who are grieving after the loss of a firefighter. We are here for you. It's a simple message, but it describes a key part of our mission. We want our fire hero families to know that we are here for them today, tomorrow, and as long as they need us. Even through this pandemic, we are here for the fire hero families. We've adapted to provide support and have made sure that we stay connected to the families and they stay connected with each other. While the pandemic has curtailed many activities and stopped some services that we rely on, your firefighters still respond when you need help, and unfortunately, that has increased their risk. Because of this, COVID-19 has taken the lives of many firefighters. In turn, it has caused a spike in the number of families who rely on the Foundation services. We expect that trend to continue as long as we are dealing with this global crisis. While it's a challenge for us, our message remains the same. We are here for them now and for as long as they need us. Thank you.
The National Fallen Firefighters Memorial is on the campus of the National Emergency Training Center and National Fire Academy. Firefighters and emergency managers from across the country train here. They learn, and they pay their respects to the fallen. For many who have lost a firefighter, this is a deeply moving memorial. It acknowledges their loved one, acknowledges their commitment to public service and their sacrifice. The names of firefighters are all around here, not just on plaques attached to the Ring of Stone, but at your feet on the bricks in the Walk of Honor. One of those names is Kenneth Hedrick. Kenny Hedrick was an 18-year-old volunteer firefighter in Maryland. He died in 1992, shortly after pulling the lifeless body of a 7-year-old boy from a burning home. Kenny's mother, Kathy, became one of the strongest advocates for the memorial and the National Fallen Firefighters Foundation. She even went to work for the foundation and became an important voice for home fire safety improvements like residential sprinklers. This was her way of giving back to protect firefighters and their families. We recently asked Kathy to share her thoughts about this memorial.
This is the plaque from 1992 that I come to visit when I'm here at the National Memorial. And if you look down here, the state of Maryland, and right there is Kenneth M. Hedrick. That's my son. There were steps down into the family room where the fire started, and that's where he ended up and got disoriented and was not able to find his way back out. He had died in the basement of that house. When I come up to the National Fallen Firefighters Foundation, the first stop I make, and I think the first stop that most family members make, is actually here at the memorial, to be able to come up this Walk of Honor where all of these bricks have sentiments. We've been here ever since, every Memorial weekend. It is a place of honor. The people will never forget who all of these firefighters were and the sacrifices that they made. And it means the world to me to know that I am not alone. I can be in a very large family, but I can still feel alone. And the foundation has given me the skills to know that they are there, and no matter when you call, there is someone at the other end of that phone all the time for you.
Hello, I'm Dr. Lori Moore Merrill, the U.S. Fire Administrator. The holiday season is a time of joy, laughter, and family, but it's also a time of reflection and remembering those who are no longer with us. As I pass through these special trees in the National Fallen Firefighters Foundation Chapel, I think of all the families across the country who are missing their firefighter at this time of year, a firefighter who died serving their community. One of my responsibilities is to oversee the National Emergency Training Center, located in Emmitsburg, Maryland. It's the home of the United States Fire Administration and the National Fire Academy. It's where we train thousands of firefighters virtually and in person. The National Fallen Firefighters Memorial is located just outside this chapel. It's a constant reminder not only of the dangers of the job, but also of our mission to work with the fire service to reduce firefighter toxic exposures, injuries, and deaths. The line of duty death of a firefighter anywhere in the country is a personal loss to all of us at the United States Fire Administration. It's important to note that the fire and EMS workforce from across the country attending the National Fire Academy have the opportunity to visit the memorial as they go to and from class. They often stop and search for the name of a firefighter from their community, someone they knew, or perhaps someone they worked with. The memorial is a sacred place for all firefighters to remember and pay their respects to those who served. It's a great honor for the U.S. Fire Administration to help maintain our Fallen Firefighter Memorial and the Walk of Honor. Like the National Fallen Firefighters Foundation, we want to make sure that the sacrifice of each firefighter listed here is never forgotten. I encourage you to learn about the firefighters who have died in the line of duty and honor their memory. During this holiday season and year-round, I urge you to make fire safety a priority in your home, in your schools, and in your community, particularly if you live in or near a wildland area. Reducing risk and preventing fires not only keeps you and your family safe, it also keeps our nation's firefighters safe. Here's hoping you and your family have a happy and safe holiday season. Happy holidays.
Thank you so much for letting your loved ones go out and do this for our country. It is greatly appreciated. In fact, some firefighters drove my little sister to the hospital when she was really young and had RSV. And she really saved us. They really saved us. So thank you so much.
It's a tough line of work. I know several people who are firefighters that I know personally, and it's a tough job. Being away from your families, putting yourself out there. So I think they're heroes.
For me, I put them on the same level as the soldiers that fall in battle and stuff like that, because not only are they going into a hostile environment willingly, but they're also willing to know that, hey, I may not come out of this, so that's something that I feel is honorable.
Tremendously brave people, willing to do things that most of us wouldn't do.
They should be honored all the time for the type of work that they've chosen to get into.
I just feel so grateful. I feel honored and grateful to be proud to be an American and happy to be protected by the brave men and women.
Make a tax-deductible donation to the National Fallen Firefighters Foundation. Go to firehero.org/help to honor the men and women who lost their lives serving our communities. Almost every autumn for more than 20 years, I've been in Emmitsburg to witness how firefighters take care of their own. To watch forever changed families walk past hundreds of seats to get a hug or handshake, a rose, and an American flag. It is impossible to take that in and not be moved by the sacrifice of so many families whose hearts are deeply wounded by a loss that can't be fixed. But that community, born of grief, grows into something beautiful. It grows into a community of deep mutual understanding. A community where everyone is devoted to one another because they've been there. They've received that unforgettable call, been in these very seats, received a rose, a flag, and eventually a way forward. And many of them come back every year with open arms and endless compassion for those who are where they were. When lives are upended by the sudden death of a loved one, the National Fallen Firefighters Foundation sweeps in and facilitates that support network of fire hero families. It is one of the greatest services of this remarkable organization. The foundation runs annual programs that bring together families who share stories, experiences, pain, and advice on how to step into the future. Of course, there are programs for grief and counseling, but there are also programs for health and wellness and improving job skills. There's even a winter gathering where families can feel the holiday spirit without feeling somehow different. And then there are those summer camps for kids that Nora mentioned, where children can play and talk and dream and share, being with other children who've been there. And the same ideas behind gatherings for young adults who are navigating their teens and life without a mom or dad or sibling. That's the kind of support that defines the National Fallen Firefighters Foundation, its mission, and its commitment. A promise to be there, a pledge to connect fire hero families with those who've walked the same path. The foundation is so grateful to them, to you, and to everyone who gives back to fire hero families, whether in person or online, where you can contribute at firehero.org/help.
My message to the families that have lost loved ones in the line of duty, I'm sending out my heartfelt, condolences to you guys.
If you're grieving over the loss of a firefighter, then that person lost their life helping their community, and I'm terribly sorry, but they are an honorable person.
I definitely know that feeling. I'm a nurse and I've lost co-workers to COVID as well. So my heart goes out to them and their families.
The sacrifice that these families and these firefighters make is just absolutely incredible on behalf of people like us.
I would just like to say thank you for the sacrifice, for the dedication that was made. We'll never be able to repay that.
It's heartbreaking.
Yeah, it makes me really sad to think about, but I know that they do it for a good cause and that they're here to help us and protect us.
I don't know if I could be that strong, and it takes a special person to be married to a firefighter.
I'm sorry that your loved one wasn't able to make it through, but I'm glad that they were able to make a difference and that their life means something to everyone.
We've now come to the most important part of this program, the reading of the names. These are the nation's fallen firefighters. This is the Roll of Honor.
Alabama. Jonathan W. Burgess, South Alabama Regional Airport Fire Department. Jared Wayne Eccles, Springville Fire and Rescue. Michael W. Johnston, Equality Volunteer Fire Department. Brendan Alexander Pierce, Palmerdale Fire District.
Alaska. Roger D. Longchamp, Willow Caswell Fire Department.
American Samoa. Mike A. Tipodi, American Samoa Fire Bureau Division of the Department of Public Safety. Alan L. Valega, American Samoa Fire Bureau Division of the Department of Public Safety.
Arizona. Tommy A. Arriaga, Tempe Fire Medical Rescue Department. Brian John Beck Jr., Phoenix Fire Department. Brian B.J. Boatman, Air West Helicopters. Mark David Bo Bollinger, Chandler Fire Department. Jackie Jean DeHaro, Tucson Fire Department. Paul C. Hudson, Colson Aviation, USA. David W. Mathis, Phoenix Fire Department. Austin Michael Peck, Goodyear Fire Department. Nikki Sullivan, Mesa Fire Department. Ricky Tejas, Phoenix Fire Department.
Arkansas. David Blake Haynes, M&M Air Services of Beaumont Incorporated. Eric L. Morrison, City of Fort Smith Fire Department. Michael Wayne Watkins, Northeast Lakeside Fire Department.
California. Jason Andrew Cortez, San Francisco Fire Department. Ramon Ray Figueroa, Porterville Fire Department. Michael John Fournier, Guardian Helicopters Incorporated. Peter A. Hine, Inyo National Forest, U.S. Forest Service, Big Pine Volunteer Fire Department. Patrick Lee Jones, Porterville Fire Department. Yaroslav I. Katkov, CAL FIRE, California Department of Forestry and Fire Protection. Daniel J. Laird, USDA Forest Service, Tahoe National Forest. Charles E. Morton, San Bernardino National Forest, Big Bear Hotshots. Donald Christian Welker, Los Angeles City Fire Department.
Colorado. Charles H. Albrandt, Poudre Fire Authority. George M. Helfer, Denver Fire Department. Troy Stephen Jackson, South Metro Fire Rescue. Kenneth J. Ken Jones, Summit Fire and EMS Authority. Dan Moran, West Metro Fire Protection District.
Connecticut. Timothy P. Smith, Orange, Connecticut Fire Marshal's Office. James C. Woodman, West Haven Fire Department.
District of Columbia. Alex D. Graham, District of Columbia Fire and EMS Department.
Florida. Jeffrey Glenn Atkinson, Tallahassee Fire Department. Barry L. Bolton Sr., Plantation Fire Department. Dwayne S. Bradshaw, Escambia County Fire Rescue. Anthony C. Christensen, City of Naples Fire Rescue. Rick Allen DeMorgan Jr., Colson Aviation, USA. Scott Robert Newman, Martin County Fire Rescue. Brian Stephen Smith, St. George Island Volunteer Fire Department.
Georgia. John Kevin Cash, Roswell Fire Department. George Johnny Childs, Arcade Fire Department. Gregory Jackson, Fort Benning Fire Department. Justin J. Rowe Robinson, Haralson County Fire Department.
Hawaii. Eric Tetsu Hayashi, Hawaii Fire Department.
Idaho. Eric R. Ellis, Salmon Air Base, Salmon Challis National Forest. Brandon D. Erickson, Meridian Fire Department.
Illinois. Mario E. Arujo, Chicago Fire Department. Robert David Reisinger, River Grove Fire Department. Jacob L. Ringering, Godfrey Fire Protection District. Edward L. Singleton, Chicago Fire Department. Cody Michael Van Fossen, Christopher Fire Department. Leo W. Werner, Scales Mound Fire Protection District.
Indiana. Matthew D. Bennett, Indianapolis Fire Department. Robert G. Cree, Harrison Township Volunteer Fire Department. John Andrew Schofstall, Terre Haute Fire Department. Donald P. Thielen, Lafayette Fire Department.
Iowa. Eric Hosette, Clinton Fire Department.
Kansas. Johnny Deal Iverson Jr., Easton Township Fire Department. Michael Allen Wells, Lenexa Fire Department.
Kentucky. Dale A. Brown, Covington Fire Department. Johnny W. Jesse, Greensburg, Greene County Volunteer Fire Department. James Chris Settles, Stanley Volunteer Fire Department.
Maine. Joel Patrick Barnes, Berwick Fire Department. Michael A. Bell, Farmington Fire Rescue. Harold E. Moore II, Jackson Fire Department.
Maryland. Otis L. Isaacs Jr., Northeast Fire Company. Michael R. Happy Powers, Libertytown Volunteer Fire Department.
Massachusetts. Jason James Menard, Worcester Fire Department. Thomas A. Nye Sr., Marion Fire Department.
Michigan. Michael J. Beitendorp, Grant Township Fire Department. Joseph Todd Gallo, Blissfield Township Fire Department. Sivad H. Johnson, Detroit Fire Department. Norman Edward Clino, East Tawas Fire Department. Benjamin K. Ben Lauren, Forsyth Township Fire Department. Joseph Michael Liedl, Monroe Charter Township Fire Department. Stephen A. Splann, Bloomfield Hills Department of Public Safety. Robert J. Stott, Jr., Lovell's Township Fire Department. Franklin D. Williams, Jr., Detroit Fire Department.
Minnesota. Darrell Taddy Drusch, Howard Lake Fire Department and Ambulance.
Mississippi. Todd Lathrop, Matheson Volunteer Fire Department.
Missouri. Jerry Drew Baden, Kansas City, Missouri Fire Department. David F. Jameson, Jr., Independence Fire Department. Charles Hampton Chuck McCormick, West Peculiar Fire Protection District. Christopher R. Moore, Maryland Heights Fire Protection District. Travis Owens, City of St. Joseph Fire Department. J. Allen Redding, Dunwig Volunteer Fire Department. Ronald W. Wallagi, Jr., DeSoto Rural Fire Protection District.
Montana. Thomas Mark Duffy, Central Copters Incorporated. Ian H. Macbeth, Colson Aviation, USA.
Nebraska. Donald E. Lepper, Indianola Volunteer Fire and Rescue Squad. John Andrew Singh, Boys Town Fire and Rescue.
New Hampshire. David M. Lavoie, Campton Thornton Fire Rescue Department. Darren James Sabine, Newington Fire Department. Stephen W. Tower, Goffstown Fire Department.
New Jersey. Joseph P. Bianchi, Borough of North Arlington Volunteer Fire Department. Richard P. Campbell, Edison Fire Department. David Clark, Bay Head Fire Company. George R. Kavanaugh, Jr., Somerville Fire Department. Timothy J. Carney, Jersey City Fire Department. John C. Jack Lemming, Cape May Point Volunteer Fire Company. Edward J. Sisk III, Elizabeth Fire Department.
New Mexico. Jeffrey Strobel, City of Roswell Fire Department. William C. White II, Sun Country Volunteer Fire Department.
New York. Anthony Alisi, Fire Department, City of New York. Jack Boyle, Fire Department, City of New York. James P. Brooks, Jr., Whitehall Volunteer Fire Company. Robert Hayden Bush, Homer Fire Department. Michael A. Cardinale, Sr., East Farmingdale Volunteer Fire Company, Incorporated. Brian W. Cassie, Fire Department, City of New York. Robert E. Collis, Fire Department, City of New York. Andrew J. DiMaggio, New Rochelle Fire Department. Clifford R. DeMuro, Fire Department, City of New York. John R. Elgis, Fire Department, City of New York. Roger Espinal, Fire Department, City of New York. Richard G. Estryka, Fire Department, City of New York. Michael L. Feldman, Fire Department, City of New York. Michael J. Field, Valley Stream Volunteer Fire Department. Donald R. Franz, Fire Department, City of New York. Robert M. Gless, Fire Department, City of New York. Dennis G. Heaney, Fire Department, City of New York. Dale E. Janes, Burdett Fire Department. Joseph R. Lucino, Fire Department, City of New York. Richard A. Mineta, Fire Department, City of New York. Matthew J. McDevitt, Fire Department, City of New York. Edward J. McDonough, Jr., Fire Department, City of New York. Michael T. McDonald, Fire Department, City of New York. Richard H. Meehan, Fire Department, City of New York. Gregorio Morales, Fire Department, City of New York. John Thomas Moran, Fire Department, City of New York. John S. Moschella, Fire Department, City of New York. Dennis J. Moynihan, Fire Department, City of New York. Timothy P. O'Neill, Fire Department, City of New York. Stephen H. Pollard, Fire Department, City of New York. Martin C. Simmons, Fire Department, City of New York. Brian J. Sullivan, Fire Department, City of New York. Richard J. Tanagretta, Fire Department, City of New York. Robert Skippy Talarcio, Fire Department, City of New York. Richard E. Tomlins, Jr., Cold Spring Fire Company. Joseph A. Walsh, Fire Department, City of New York. Robert E. White, Jr., West Stockholm Fire Department.
North Carolina. Michael D. Canada, Beargrass Fire and Rescue. Dennis M. Ebersol, Cure Beach Volunteer Fire Department. Claude Messer, Jonathan Creek Fire and Rescue. David Wayne Page, Durham Fire Department. Karen Ann Short, Asheville Fire Department. Dakota Snavely, East Side Volunteer Fire Department. W. Keith Tessinier, Raleigh Fire Department. Joe J. Tucker Jr., Thoroughfare Volunteer Fire Department.
Ohio. Donald J. Beauchesne Jr., Warren City Fire Department. James H. Glover, Newton Township Volunteer Fire Department. Jeffrey Allen Guernsey, Washington Township Fire Department. Joseph M. Patterson, Paint Creek Joint EMS Fire District. Richard A. Petrus, Cleveland Division of Fire.
Oklahoma. Ricky Lee Fulton, Arrow Seat Incorporated. Jeffrey Scott White, Oklahoma City Fire Department.
Pennsylvania. Michael J. Bernstein, Philadelphia Fire Department. Willie J. Blakely, Erie Fire Department. David G. Kloss Sr., Avis Fire Company No. 1. Neil B. Cope, North Bell Vernon Volunteer Fire Department. William N. Norm Frank Jr., Willow Street Fire Company. K. Robert Greiser, Perseverance Volunteer Fire Company No. 1. Jerome Scott Geis, Citizens Fire Company No. 1 of Mount Holly Springs. Michael C. Malinowski Sr., Morton Rutledge Volunteer Fire Company Station 13. Edward Gary Minnick, Colmar Volunteer Fire Company. Edward L. Knowlton, Kungle Fire Company. Walter David Wagaman, Buchanan Valley Volunteer Fire Department.
Rhode Island. Frank J. Sousa, Bristol Fire Department.
South Carolina. Angela N. Chadwick Hawkins, U.S. Army, Fort Jackson. Coleman B. Lodeholt, Jr., Hampton County Fire Rescue. Paul Edwin Quattlebaum, Jr., Lexington County Fire Service.
South Dakota. Dwayne Franklin Hudson, Argyle Volunteer Fire Department.
Tennessee. Jason E. Bird, Fayette County Fire Department.
Texas. John L. Bloom, Dallas Fire Rescue. Lemuel D.J. Bruce, Houston Fire Department. Bradley D. Burney, Mesquite Fire Department. Jesus Jesse De La Rosa Jr., Weslaco Fire Department. Clayton William Fenwick, Sugarland Fire EMS. Gregory P. Garza, San Antonio Fire Department. Duncan Cameron Henderson, Ringgold Volunteer Fire Department. Stephen Paul Henderson, Louise Volunteer Fire Department. Eric Hill, Lubbock Fire Rescue. Stephen R. Hill, Richardson Fire Department. Lee Holbert, Carrollton Fire Rescue. Diana Jones, KL Farms Fire LLC, Crescent Volunteer Fire Department. Lloyd E. Mosley, Jr., Dallas Fire Rescue. Lance Allen Norwood, College Station Fire Department. Dennis E. Page, Jr., Dallas Fire Rescue. Frankie Partita, Jr., Glen Flora Volunteer Fire Department. Eduardo Lurch Ramirez, El Paso Fire Department. Kenneth D. Stavinoha, Houston Fire Department. Randall E. Willman, Dallas Fire Rescue.
Virginia. Darrell C. Hamlet, Lynchburg Fire Department. Charles C. Dog Woods, Adwolf Volunteer Fire Department.
Washington. Stephen S. Bailey, Kennewick Fire Department. Alan Dean Basso, Cowlitz County Fire District Number 5. Darrell W. Dabbling, Hanford Fire Department. Christian D. Johnson, Okanogan County Fire District 3. David L. Lewis, Valley Regional Fire Authority. Philip Brian Oldham, Grays Harbor Fire District 2. Darlene G. Raffleson, Tumwater Fire Department. Kirk Dean Robinson, Bothell Fire Department. Scott Bernard Thomas, M&M Air Services of Beaumont, Incorporated. Don Waller, Okanogan County Fire District 6. J. Garth Wheeler, Seattle Fire Department.
West Virginia. Zachary S. Blankenship, Montcalm Volunteer Fire Department. Mark Elliott Horwich, Clover Roan Volunteer Fire Department. Russell K. Robertson, Jr., Yeager Volunteer Fire Department. James W. Jimmy Ward, City of Logan Fire Department. Logan Andrew Young, West Virginia Air National Guard, 167th Air Left Wing.
Wisconsin. Mitchell F. Lundgaard, Appleton Fire Department.
There was a life behind each of the names you've just heard, and there's a family, along with the larger fire service family and a community. They all continue to grieve. The National Fallen Firefighters Foundation is always there for them. Firefighters are woven into the fabric of our communities. They answer the calls to help us when we experience our worst days. It's important that we never forget their sacrifice and their families. I certainly don't. I'm Nora O'Donnell, and thanks for helping honor these firefighters and supporting the National Fallen Firefighters Foundation and their very important work.
You have been watching America's Tribute to Fallen Firefighters from the National Fallen Firefighters Foundation.
Thank you for watching America's Tribute to Fallen Firefighters. I'm Julie Drusch from Minnesota. My firefighter husband, Daryl Drusch, died serving our community in 2020. We appreciate your support of the National Fallen Firefighters Foundation. You can learn more at firehero.org. Have a safe, healthy, and happy holiday season.